body to essentially degenerate. And so the more you can walk backwards, the better things will be. So give it a try and see if you can't have a good time doing this. My nightly routine is I will go grab a dumbbell and or put on the weighted vest, and while we're cooking dinner, while I'm, I'll put the meat on, and then I'll walk up the stairs backwards with weight, and so called rucking. Number 4 is exercise. So I'm going to shift gears just a little bit and show you some pretty incredible things you can do when it comes to exercise. But how many of you love to exercise? Great. And how many of you find that your day is just so much better if you can get a little bit of exercise in? And so is anyone here, how many of you are over 50? Is there it looks like maybe a few of you. Good, because I'm going to share 2 tools. So for those of you who are under 50, just hang tight, and I'm going to show you your tool as well. But this is these are some fitness benchmarks that would be really important. So one of the research articles that recently was published is it included over 126,000 people who participated in this research project over the course of 30 years. And what they were looking at, the research team wanted to see what are the defining things that help people live to be in their 90s and 100s. And what they found is that if you want to increase your lifespan by 27 to 30%, exercise was the big thing. They found that the individuals in this large cohort, the individuals who spent anywhere from 300 to 350 minutes of moderate activity every single week, or those who spent 400 to 600 minutes of mild intensity of activity every week, they lived on average 27 to 30% longer. So one of the biggest things you can do, and there's nothing that can circumvent sedentary lifestyle. And so exercise becomes really important. But what I find is that if you don't have any benchmarks when it comes to exercising, it gets pretty old and stale. If you don't see progress right out of the gates, it can be something hard to stick with. And I know Sonny and I were speaking yesterday, and he wakes up every morning at 3:20, and he's in the gym by 4 a.m., which is really inspirational. And it's just the way that he loves starting his day. I like to earn my showers. I like to say that because I want to exercise before I do anything else in the day. And so, but one of the things that each of us can do is we can start grading ourselves and say, okay, how am I doing in my strength? How's my flexibility? How is my overall coordination? Do I have power? Because anyone over the age of 40, what happens is every year we lose about 8% of power in our muscles. And without power, we can't stop ourselves from falling. And that's where people get broken hips. It's also where people start to notice that life's just not really exciting if they, they become sedentary because they lose muscle mass. The other thing that happens is our muscles go into a state called sarcopenia. And so that's where fat gets replaced by muscle. And I think any of you who have experienced aging, then you know that it's much harder to keep on muscle mass as we grow older. And so one of the ways to stay young while we grow old is to exercise. But every year that you get a little older, you need more exercise in your life. And so one of the fun things that I've done is I've created this tool called Fitness 50 at age 100. And this is another tool I created for Dan Sullivan, who's got a goal to live to be 156. And he came up to me I was at a dinner at his house, and he said,
"Thank you
I need you to create a tool, and it's called Fitness 50 at age 100. And I said, wait, what? He said, Fitness 50 at age 100. And I said, what does that even mean? And he said, well, imagine that I'm 100 years old. What would a fit 100-year-old need to be doing that a 50-year-old can do? And so then I started researching, and he said, I need it to be diagnostic so that it will help predict if there's any diseases coming up on the horizon. And so here's what I found in all the research, and I had a research assistant with me on this, and so we came up with 11 different criteria. And feel free to try these out as we go through them. But and you can see there's 3 categories: there's fit, fitter, and fittest. And so the goal is just to see where you land. Are you fit? Are you fitter? Are you fittest? And then for those of you who actually do the test, let me know, and we'll send you a T-shirt that's either fit, fitter, or fittest. So number 1 is push-ups. So if you can do push-ups, what push-ups show is that you've got great cardiovascular health. One of the studies that I looked at is called the fireman study. And the fireman study, this was done in the 90s. And what they found is that firemen who could do 40 push-ups in a row actually had a 99% chance of having no cardiovascular issues late into their 60s, 70s. So one of the things that's associated with heart health is your ability to do push-ups. Not only do they feel good, I dare you to jump on the ground right now and do a few push-ups and see if you don't feel a little bit better. But these push-ups are something you can do every day, and there's literally no equipment required. If you have kids, have your kids jump on your back if you're getting stronger. That was always a fun activity that we had when my kids, I get all 3 of my kids stacked on me, and you'd always say, "Oh, can you do it, Dad?" And so we'd try and do it. The second one is plank hold. And a plank hold, what they found is that individuals who could hold a plank for 3 minutes had 60% fewer chances of falling and injuring themselves who are over 65. And so a plank hold, not only does it show great core strength, but it's a really great way to get a meditation in. So if you're focused on, trying to solve a big problem, and you're not getting a lot of creativity, well, try holding a plank. It can really change your life in just a moment. The third one is the grip test. And this is what we talked about earlier. You can do a dead hang. And this one we'll have groups of people when we host retreats, longevity retreats at the office. We've got a gym there, and we'll have people hang. And it's very interesting. Almost every single person, there's never been a person who hasn't got to at least 30 seconds on this. But the goal is to be able to hold for 90 seconds. So you grab a bar and you just hang there and set a timer. The world record, by the way, at grip test is like 22 minutes. So if you break that record, you'll get 3 T-shirts from us. But the grip test is really indicative of overall cardiovascular strength. And one thing I'll note on grip is if you have high blood pressure and you want to get your high blood pressure down without medications, or either get off your medications, is we have our patients hold on to dumbbells and work on their grip strength throughout the day. And what you'll see is your blood pressure will start to drop just by holding on to dumbbells, or you can hold on and do the grip test, do the dead hang. But very interesting. We've had one of the patients of ours, she was doing that and she suddenly got dizzy, and I said, well, it's your blood pressure medication. Let's lower your blood pressure medication. And so she got off it entirely, and she has not been back on her blood pressure medication in years, just by working on her grip strength. So, and anytime your blood pressure is high, that starts to damage your kidneys and everything else in your body. So, and it causes strokes. So the next one is where we're going to work on the legs. How many of you have great leg strength? And you say, this is where I really shine, is in the legs. So this one is squats. Can you do 50 squats in 50 seconds? And these need to be all the way down, all the way up. So squats are really important because it sounds pretty simple, but imagine someone in their 80s, their 90s, their hundreds. We all want our health freedom, our health independence. And if you can't do a squat, it's going to be hard to get up and down out of a chair. Imagine going to the bathroom if you can't squat. And so these are things that if you work on this category, all of these 11 exercises, just test yourself at least, once a month, but ideally once a week. This is how you're going to ease into life very easily and ease into aging very easily. The next one is the wall squat hold. So position your back against the wall and come down to 90 degrees or lower and hold yourself. And can you hold yourself for at least 30 seconds? That's fit. Can you go 60 seconds? How about 90 seconds? The next one is lunges. So lunges are where you're moving your legs back and forth. And this requires a lot of balance, but it also requires glute strength. And being able to do lunges is one way you can help build up the muscles. One muscle in particular called your vastus medialis that protects your knees. And we see a lot of patients who come to us because they have bone on bone in their knees. Their knees are deteriorated. And so we do regenerative medicine treatments on their knees so that they can start to get some space between their knees. So you can do lunges. The next one is sit to stand. And this is a great exercise because it's full body. And literally just like it sounds, it's called you sit down and then you stand up. So you sit down, you straighten your legs all the way, and then you stand up. And so seeing how many of those you can do, it's a predictor for all-cause mortality. And what they found is people who can do sit to stand, if they can do 10 of those in a row in under 50 seconds, what they discovered is that these individuals had better balance. They didn't fall and break their hips. They also had better bone mineral density. The next one is called sit to rise. And sit to rise is actually a diagnostic test because it shows how well your balance, your coordination, and your strength is. And it's harder than it sounds, but if you sit with your legs crossed and then you try stand up, but stand up by leaning forward. So the key of this one, if you want to do it with no hands, which is the goal, is lean forward and stand all the way up. And it's a phenomenal way of testing yourself to see how well your body is functioning. And so this is an exercise I do often. I demonstrate it very frequently. And if you need one hand to help push you up, you're in the fitter category. If you need two hands to help you get up, then that's in the fit category. But the goal is to get to zero. Single leg balance. So stand on one leg and you can look out into the distance. And if you can hold it for at least 20 seconds, you're in the fit category. The goal is to get up to 50 seconds. And one of the predictors of this is if you can't stand on a single leg, there's a good chance you've had a stroke. So if you're ever like doing these exercises and you notice like, wow, yesterday I could balance really well on my one leg and I'm just falling today, something's wrong, then this is where you need to go see a doctor because there's a good chance you could have had a minor stroke. And so it's a really important test. And for those of you who have elderly parents, this is a really good test to do for your parents. And then if they can't balance, then it's a good exercise to get them balancing because all walking is balancing. And so we want to be mobile. And then we jump into the endurance. And so this is where you can do a mile walk, run, or elliptical. Ideally, you want to be getting this done in about 12 minutes. There's a retired dentist named Charles Euster, who's very inspirational. And Charles Euster, in his 80s, his wife had passed away several years ago. And in his 80s, he started realizing that he wanted to get fit. And so he took up running and he broke a bunch of world records in running at the age of 87. And then he said, I want to put on muscle mass. And so he hired Mr. Olympia to train him to be a bodybuilder. And he put on an enormous amount of muscle. He put on like 20 pounds of muscle in a few years up until the age of 93. And but one of the things he always focused on was rowing, and rowing was his favorite way of keeping his cardiovascular levels healthy. And so you can row, you can walk, you can do elliptical. And then the final one is burpees. Burpees, does anyone like burpees in here? It's no one's never met anyone who really loves burpees that, if you're honest about it, it's just a really tough movement, but it really raises your heart rate. But if you can get 25 burpees in 2 minutes, you're in the fittest category. So Go ahead and score yourself on that. I'll make sure that this is included for everybody. But that's your Fitness 50 benchmarks. So how many of you think you would be in the fitter, or fittest category? How many of you, if you just glanced at it, what grade would you give yourself? I'll show it to you one more time. As far as push-ups, how many of you say, I can do 40 push-ups? How many of you could do 3-minute plank hold, maybe 90-second dead hang, squats? But yeah, just give yourself a quick grade and you can plug it in the chat box. And yeah, good. We got some fitter, we got some fits. Good. Some of you can do the push-ups. Push-ups that's amazing. Good. And Tiffany, you're asking, are these benchmarks the same for men and women? Yes, we tried to make these, with push-ups, you can modify it. You can be on your knees and you'll be great. Everything else, I tried to make it somewhat, so it worked with both sexes. Good. So we got some fitter. Awesome. Sonny, you got some great fitness junkies on your team. I love it. Yeah, this is great. Miss Tiffany completed the Murph. Well done, Tiffany. That's awesome. Wasn't it? I'm still sore, Tiffany. I don't know how you feel, but I woke up this morning. I'm like, I'm almost done, but I'm still sore, even though I did it on Monday. Great.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, Tiffany.
Hi. We just went back to the gym today because both Max and I, my boyfriend, we had tendonitis from doing it. So it definitely hurt.
Oh,
Today
man.
was a first
Well
day back.
done. I didn't have any tendonitis, which I'm grateful for, but yes, my body is sore. Okay, well, hopefully this gives you guys, some interesting things. And as I promised, good, 25 burpees in 1.3 minutes. Whew, that is awesome. Good, 20 minutes walk, 1 round of Surya Namaskar. You're gonna have to tell me what Surya Namaskar is.
It's a yoga pose, Regan.
Oh, got it. Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. Well done. Man, look at this. Dead hang for over 2 minutes. Manajo, well done. And I apologize if I mispronounced your name there. Good. Everyone's a fitter except burpees. Yeah, burpees it stops a lot of people in their tracks, but you get better as you go. So I'm going to show you real quick. The Fitness 25 at age 50 is very similar. And so I'll share this with you. For those of you who want to take it up a notch, like for those Tiffany's out there who are doing the Murph, this one is called Fitness 25 at age 50. And Tristan, who's our exercise physiologist, our trainer in the clinic, he and I put this together. And so one of the things we changed up is we put deadlifts, and he loves deadlifts. And so ideally you want to deadlift twice your body weight. We put in some vertical jumps. So, push-ups went up, pull-ups went up, pull-ups are in there. Planks, you want to go 5 minutes. Vertical jump is in there, 25 inches. And that's what I'm working on this year, is my vertical jump. The long jump, 8.5 feet. Dead hang, you're going to increase it to 150 seconds. And then the Cooper is a very common physical fitness test. So it's a 1.5 mile test. And if you can do it in 10 minutes and 16 seconds, you are in the fittest camp. And then the sit and reach test, we put in some flexibility. If you can get to 30 inches, you are on track. So that's your Fitness 25 at age 50 tool. All right, so I'm going to bring this all into context. So why all these things? If you look at these there's these health activators, and we have all these fun things that you can do in your life. But how many of you find that life is just a little more enjoyable when you've got great health? And And if you don't believe me, I've worked, with thousands of people, literally people who have everything you could ever imagine in their life, and their health is suffering, and it's almost as if they have nothing. And so, one of the tools that I created is this tool called the 10-year roadmap. And this 10-year roadmap is just a way of framing things. And some of my answers are in here because I taught a worksheet on this, or a workshop on this recently. But if you think about your health in the next 10 years, and then I'm going to just kind of end on this, and we'll open it up to questions and answers. But I want you to take a minute right now and just think about what you'd love to have in the next 10 years. Think about your health, and so right now, one of what Dan says is we're all 100% disciplined to our current set of habits. So a lot of us need to create new habits in order to get to where we want to go, and it doesn't require any more effort. That's the irony of doing things, is once you just make the decision, and you make it once, then the decision's made for you. And so I'm going to challenge everybody today to just make the decision to exercise every day, no matter what. And you don't have to go to the gym. I've been doing light workouts since Monday was such a beast of a workout. Today I'm going to be mountain biking, and that's going to be my workout. But what are the longevity habits and skills that you've got right now? What are your health essentials? Maybe some of you are going to do the fitness 50, that could be a health essential. Maybe you're going to do gagging. That's a health essential, kind of an odd one. But these could be some things that you want to really focus on. What are the relationships that are going to go along with you? I've got an amazing wife who I really appreciate having her in my life. She pushes me, and she helps me be the best version of myself. I've got incredible kids, amazing family and friends. I've got, great people like Sunny in my life who inspire me. And then what are the mindset essentials? What are you going to be learning? What are you reading? What are you working on? I'm working on AI assistants. So one of the things I've discovered with some of the AI tools is I can research much faster, and I don't have to sort through Google and swim through the ads. And it's been really nice. What generates energy for you? So we'll go to the next column is, what do you love about your life? I love skiing. I love snowboarding. I love mountain biking. I love hiking. I love going, cross country skiing is a new sport that we took up this year. But the things that I love doing, those create a lot of energy for me. I really love talking about health. And so this morning, this generated a lot of energy. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be here with each one of you. And I appreciate everyone's attentiveness, but I want to hear about you. What do you love doing as far as activities go? Who's the most enjoyable people that you get to spend your time with? What are you doing for personal growth? Because these are things that generate energy, and energy is not something that just magically happens in your life. It's something that you have to generate. And our bodies are these humming machines of energy. If you look at the amount of energy in our brain and the energy in every single cell in your body that has these massive lights of mitochondria just spinning at a certain vibration, like you are literally emitting energy everywhere you go. And so what are you going to do to make your light just a little bit brighter? And then one thing I think is a critical piece of health is having fun. And, I think this gets missed in medicine a lot is, are you having fun? What are some ways, what are 3 things you'd love to have happen? What do you want to do that's going to create some fun in your life? And then if you go to the next category, this is the scoring category. So what are you going to use to stay on track? So for those of you who love science and love learning about your body, I think there's some great assessments that you can do you can do blood tests, you can do stool tests, urine tests, scans and imaging. But we have a motto, which is no death by neglect. So I think a lot of us have people in our lives who we've really loved, who we care for, and they died earlier than they should have. My hero in life is my grandfather. He fought in World War II. He was just the most compassionate, generous human you'd ever meet. But he died at a young age because he ate too much sugar. He just, it was fun for him, but he died when he was 80 and he had opportunity, could have lived well beyond 100. So make sure you're getting tests ran so that you can find out what could be getting in the way of your health. And then how many of you have positive relationships that you'd like to grow? So what's your number of positive relationships? And then what new things have you learned and experienced? And that's a great way of scoring yourself. And then the final one is giving yourself permission. And this is where I'd love to hear from you. Plug it in the chat box. What are 3 energizing things you want to do in the next 90 days? And what are those things going to look like for you to really bring your life and take it to the next level? And so I think those are some things that, if you can just do it and make it a habit to do some energizing things, that's when your health can really start to explode. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everyone being on this. I'm going to open it up to any questions you guys have. I'm going to look in the chat box real quick. Yes, no death by neglect was it. Yes. Okay, good. Loving the beach. Bench press, good. Bench press is awesome. Biking, hiking, volleyball. This is great. Okay, good. Swim in the cold river today. I'm so glad I inspired someone to jump in the cold. That is so good. Sunny, I agree. Life is better by being intentional about health. So important. So we'll open up to questions and answers. Or at least questions. I don't know if I'll have an answer for it, but.
Okay, team, go ahead with your questions. This is an opportunity.
There we go. Do you have any special suggestions for diabetic people? This is a really good question, and I do work with a number of diabetic people. And one of the things is it type 1 or type 2, because there's a little different in that. And as far as my recommendations, but I'll just assume it's type 2 or adult onset. And so one of the biggest things that we've seen, and I've written papers on this, and in some of the literature, what we found is that if you can do 2 things, if you can increase your testosterone, you can do that by strengthening your legs. So these 2 go hand in hand. You can either use like Fedosia agresta or Tongkat Ali. Those are some natural herbs that you can increase your testosterone through. But if you can increase your muscle mass by 10 pounds and reduce your body fat by 5 pounds by exercising, you can start to become more insulin sensitive, meaning you need less insulin and your body can start to recover from diabetes. The other thing that you can do is focus on 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And I find in the diabetic world, especially in the United States, what the American Diabetes Association tells you to eat is completely wrong. And so what you want to do is, if you can have a large serving of protein with each meal, that can help stabilize your blood sugar in incredible ways. And then the other thing with diabetes is you want to make sure that the reason why you want to make sure you're exercising is because those GLUT4 transporters, you can actually, even if you're a type 1 diabetic, you can get insulin into the cell, you can get sugar into the cell without the presence of insulin by exercising. There's a couple of really great peptides that we use, like semaglutide, 5-amino-1-MQ, that can be really helpful as well. But just in general, I would say, exercise, focus on building muscle mass, and then 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight every single day. And make sure you start your morning with lots of protein. Great question. Sunny, what were your thoughts on today? Any takeaways that you had?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of takeaways, Regan. One was when the fitness score, those, I mean, very simple way to understand. Push-ups means heart health.
Yeah,
Plank hold means focus and creativity. I'm like,
yeah.
every hour I want to get up, otherwise I get that alert on my Apple Watch and my Aura app if I don't get up. So I'm like,
Yep.
just do like, just do these 2-3 things. Do a couple of push-ups every few hours and plank and grip. And so all those, really, really simple, but very impactful exercises that you can do. And this 10-year roadmap. And this is so well aligned with our kind of the framework that we created for 25 years health. So this goes into the first year, 5-year, 10-year, and that has so much value. Yeah. Any other question, team? Anything? It could be related to your cardio health, your heart health, your any health question.
And we did have a question that came in. What herbs increase testosterone? And I'll plug it in the chat box for everyone.
And I think Kyle, do you have a question? I know you
Yeah.
unmuted yourself.
Yeah, I want to say it's nice to meet you, and thank you first of all for everything today. I've gotten a lot of value from this session already, and inspired. I have a river near me that it's kind of cold still, but I'm going to go at my lunch break and swim in it today. And my question is, and thank you for the blood pressure advice on the grip strength. My mother has blood pressure issues and COPD, so I was curious if with the COPD, if you have any other type of recommendations to go along with that, things that she can do.
Yeah, and COPD is challenging, and it's a pulmonary disease for those of you who don't know what it is. And so, do you know what Wim Hof breathing is, Kyle?
Yeah.
So that would be extreme for your mom right now, but really she wants to get her carbon dioxide tolerance built up. And so one of the things she can do is you can get it's a flow restriction device that she can breathe into. You can get it on Amazon for like $15. And it's the same test that you use to measure respiratory strength. And if she just does that several times a day and she can give herself a score, she can actually start improving that disease. We've been able to reverse COPD in a lot of our clients, but that's one of the things we have them do is blow into that device, because it restricts your lungs, and so it forces her diaphragm to get stronger, and it can reverse some of her pulmonary disease.
That's too cool. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that.
And then you can do Wim Hof with her. You can, and before you jump into
the yeah, I've been trying to teach her some breathing techniques. I didn't even think about the Wim Hof breathing techniques. It's been years since I've learned that. So thank you so much.
Got it. Happy to help. Yeah, best to your mom.
Yeah,
go ahead, son.
Yeah, there's a question in the chat from Rhonda.
Okay. Hey, Rhonda. This is really insightful. I appreciate that. What are your thoughts on an inversion table? Helpful or not so much? Inversion tables are great. And if this is specific for like low back pain, one of the things that happens to our discs is our discs get dehydrated as the day goes on. And so if you're noticing this on a regular basis, you may want to check your hydration. So drinking half of your body weight in ounces in fluid is really important, and then add some electrolytes in. But the inversion tables are incredible, because that will separate the discs so that you can get some rehydration in there. And then helpful, absolutely. If you have bulging discs, it's great. And then it's really good to get the blood into the head. This is another thing you can do if you ever feel like you're stuck mentally, then just go upside down. It's, someone had mentioned yoga. And one thing I love about yoga is handstands. because it completely flips your frame of reference. And so an inversion table can do the same thing. It's great for you. So do it every day. Awesome. Another question. Jigyasa Das, nice to meet you. And I'm sure I did not pronounce that anywhere near correctly. I apologize. What would you recommend to someone suffering from osteoarthritis? There's regular walks, but what else can they do to improve mobility? This is a really good question because osteoarthritis is something that it's in epidemic proportions. But the more that you can do other workouts like lifting weights, surprisingly is better for osteoarthritis than just regular walks. You do want to put some pressure on the joint, but you want to work with someone who can, like a physical therapist or somebody who can watch the way you move so that you move properly. And that's a great way of reducing the osteoarthritis. The other thing is at night, is a good time to take like turmeric, any kind of anti-inflammatories. You don't want to take them in the morning, but take them more at night, and then get rid of sugar. Sugar is the #1 driver of osteoarthritis. So yeah, those couple things: lift some weights, moving properly, and then getting rid of any sugar. Like anything with more than 1 gram of sugar just has to go. And then you can add in a little bit of apple cider vinegar, add in turmeric at night, and that will really help the osteoarthritis. Sajiel, how would you prevent tailbone pain? Well, don't sit on it, so stand more. I don't know how the tailbone pain happened. I'd have to get a little more history, but if you're,
it is
Go
due
ahead.
to inflammation. It is due to inflammation actually, because with MRI and all that, I initially thought it was a tendinitis. Then it ruled out it was an inflammation. So kind of going towards sciatica, but not, so having the therapy, yeah, it got prevent, but going, further down, how can I, and what are the tips if there is?
So this would be, I would be working on a muscle called the piriformis. Are you familiar with where the piriformis is?
No, I'm.
It's a little muscle in your glute, in the hip, but doing like pigeon pose and stretching that area would be really important for you. Really, and doing that after you've warmed up would be really helpful for the tailbone pain. And especially if it's going into sciatica, then that means you've got that you probably have piriformis syndrome if it's trending in that direction. Sitting less is really important too. So ideally don't sit for every hour that you sit, you need to be standing for about 10 minutes. Just like for every 20 minutes we look at the screen, we need at least 2 minutes out in the distance. And then Rita said, I've been told that protein intake should also commensurate to the workout, else that will add to the fat. Is this true? 1 gram of protein per pound is for moderate exercise. So actually, you can eat protein pretty much any time, and it's not going to add to fat at all, because what our body stores, our body store carbohydrates. Our liver stores massive amounts of sugars and carbohydrates, as do our muscles. Our bodies also store fat, and we all have a little bit of fat on us, but we don't store protein. And so protein seems to be, you can do it before your workout, you can do it after your workout. Ideally, you want to work out in a fasted state. That's where you can get the best benefits. Unless you're diabetic or you have blood sugar issues, then eat some protein before you work out. And I'll try to answer these quick. How to prevent back pain, stiffness while sitting long hours. Change up your position often. And make sure that those Kegel exercises that I talk about, if you have to sit, if you don't have the ability to stand, then what you want to do is do the Kegels and then keep moving. You can move your hips just a little bit. I'm moving mine a lot just to exaggerate. But if you move your hips when you're sitting, just slightly, people they won't even know it, but just move your hips slightly as you're sitting, then that keeps the blood moving in your low back. So it's all about blood flow. And then you can put some heat on your low back as well, and then grab the backs of your palms and massage your low back as you're going throughout your day. What are the best practices for varicose veins? Compression. You need compression socks, so wear really tight socks for your compression veins. And then take more vitamin C to prevent more veins from showing up. Yeah, someone says stretch every hour for 2 minutes. Yep, there you go. Any suggestions for recovery in case of a disease, injury, or supplements? I like cordyceps. So any kind of mushroom blend is really good in general. So cordyceps, astragalus, ginseng. And then the last question that I'll answer before we wrap up, is it okay to have all sorts of junk food like burger, pizza, pasta, chips, cold drinks, and balance it out with exercise? You guys know the answer to that. That's an absolute no. I love that last question though, Sonny. Maybe I'll talk nutrition next time, but yeah, no sugar, eat your protein and a lot of vegetables, and get rid of the junk food no matter what. That was great. Sonny, thanks so much for having me. This has been really fun.
No, thank you so much, Regan. Truly appreciate you, my friend. And thank you so much for coming here and adding a lot of value to my ITBD community. I appreciate you.
My pleasure. Anytime. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Regan.
Thank you, Regan.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Regan, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Regan.
Thank you, Sunny.
Thank you.
And team,